You can't see my eyes, but you can see my eye. And so I guess what I wish to say is this place where I'm standing is a focal point in this moment to release the voice of the heart, balanced with the mind of the universe. And that is a call for us to take stations and positions along symmetrical lines of public ingenuity and innovation, and magnetize them as transmitters, radio stations, signal stations for a better system. Free America from the 1%. And so, what I would like to say is that I believe the leader should be balanced in his work inside and outside. And it's an ideal, and it will take a while to get to. But I think one difficult thing is bringing together our circle and our square. And in one interpretation, I sense our circle is the people we know, and our square are the people in our reach that we do not know. Who is in our reach? Well, with the internet, or even in our local situation, there are so many people, so many different experiences, and yet there is a similar tendency throughout the institutions, throughout the fields, throughout the sectors, the unique personalities of who we are, our spirit, our consciousness. And so, a satellite dialed to the frequency of what we can do together as a brother-sisterhood. What does that mean? Being able to share what we dream with each other. Those who are brothers and sisters, or if they are non-binary, or whatever they call themselves, androgynous. I think we're in a time where if we try to hold on to someone, we'll lose ourselves. But if we try to invite those who are willing to pass through the heart, we can measure ideas with our mind in proportions that allow for direct development, for changing systems that seem to be so hard to change, or taking too long to change. But we are all part of the equation for freedom and humanity, and that is what gives us the beauty of recording to 8 billion people in one moment. And it may not reach 8 billion people, but I definitely feel sharing our voice, sharing our gift, sharing our heart, getting out there, even if there aren't very many people around us, but points of symmetry, points of traffic, points of diverse classes and backgrounds. We can find in our job, whatever it may be, always has a certain purpose when it's right in front of us, when we're facing it. And that is the true north that directs a translation, that we have the ability to bridge the social media platforms, all our people that we know, and our people in our phone contact in our local area or wherever. And it's not about just throwing each other into one big group, but I think it's about considering at least inviting some portion of our circle together with our square. And right now I'm in the town square, even though it's not technically labeled the town square. There are a variety of town squares in this city that I'm in. Freedom for 8 billion people means standing up against the elite and our own ego. Looking at the eye, even if you can't see the eyes. But this is not activated until this is activated. And how do you activate it? Well, you find a way in your job or creating your own job for life, for creativity, for other ways of doing business, other ways of doing trade, other ways of decentralizing decision-making positions. So we begin considering referendums that aren't just political, but they stretch into a variety of sectors that press on the people into burnout in their jobs, severe exploitation, legal torture. But there are people who are genuine and honest, and on some level, genuine and honest inside the system. They were trained and developed through many instances beyond what we are currently understood in this life that we are living, even if we're young, so to speak. So, transmitting a frequency when the sun is highest in the sky, which is 12:53 for me p.m. today, is an ideal place that I would like to be, right here. But I usually go over there, and where that figure is, I might be able. It's moving. And what? I want to say that I've been finding it easier to record when you have the camera facing, or the screen facing the people, so they see what they're looking at. People can feel kind of intimidated if it's just the camera looking at them. But if it's like me looking at myself, and the person is coming off and like not trying to belittle or change. I don't need to go into this. The brother sisterhood alliance is scattered and fragmented throughout the world, but at the same time, you're welcome to join the Discord. What is Discord? Is it another app? Do I have to create another account and then sign the terms and conditions? Another platform where, you know, they might take our data, or they might try to commodify us. And so there's truth to that. But at the same time, we have to start somewhere. And am I accountable? Am I in integrity? Am I consistent in my execution and strategy for showing up at high noon at this place that I'd like to be? Maybe it's right here. I think it's right here technically. But there's a plaque here. It says like the name of the plaza. But and then on the weekends be at the park or in the forest. If we're prepared physically and spiritually, being in the park, exploring experiments and activities with the people, I think is very positive. Megaphone, dancing, science, surveys, storytelling, but like including the pain, the trauma. Free America from the 1%. Free America from the 1%. And so I picture myself blindfolded in the cross with, on my left hand, a document that shares my experience, my perspective, my frame. But on the right hand, I want to share what's in the details. And of the document. What is in between the lines of the document, or let me take a step back. For what I see as a tradition history can look to in order to trust the principles of but immortalized development of individual and collective beings. That's a statement that will cause many people to stop watching this video, but that's okay. Will this pay our bills? Will this give us some freedom to travel and fine dine and take up different hobbies and have children, or not have children, but try to get us into communication with the top, when oftentimes it doesn't feel people can get into communication with the top as hard as they try. But the top will eventually get to our voice when we get to the bottom. But why can it also be the top down? Why does it have to be bottom up? It can be both, but someone has to try to be successful, and the people at the top often are not. There are some, but I'm at 12 minutes. Do I have anything else that I would like to share? Free America from the 1%. First Amendment, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of my own religion. But there's got to be a fifth, and that is freedom to stand our ground for the principle of a higher state that can manifest if we are willing to look at each other and honor our humanity, our experience despite the trauma, despite the blood, despite the soul that's been taken. And we know there are a variety of ways that life has been difficult. But anyways, freedom to America from the 1%. Blindfolded with a document or an art piece that is connected to the lineage, the order, the administration of the golden hierarchy. That isn't a patriarchy or a matriarchy. It honors them as equals. Is the hardest thing the simplest thing? Am I blindfolded right now? Does it have to be an external thing that suppresses me? But it would be a good experiment, as people would think, oh, he's blindfolding himself. Why? And so, whether I'm holding a piece of paper and a little QR code, or I'm holding up a symbol, it doesn't matter. But this place, would it be difficult to blindfold myself looking directly here? Some might say, oh, you can do it on the steps of City Hall, but I don't think I can, because there's oftentimes like weddings and people coming down, there's pictures, and some might say, oh, that's an excuse for not trying and finding out for yourself, because it may not always be that way. There's some truth to that. But anyways, across the street there's a place to sit, and obviously here's a place to stand. And I feel like they kind of work in conjunction, even though it might not look that way. Well, one can in some way perform the same task while also considering different tasks. But it's hard in general to connect with people at this time, as the weight a lot of people face doesn't draw them into really considering another perspective. I don't think anyone should be surprised, but that doesn't make them the victim necessarily. All right. With that being said, the story continues, and what is left is the will to die for our heart, day by day, in simple ways, but we could also perhaps do it in big ways, and dancing between them is a journey. Welcome to the journey.